Ruskaya! Once again, unbelievable. I want to do karaoke with you guys after this. With a love revolution. Oh, yeah. Let him hear it. Ruskaya right there. That was incredible. They are going to be closing out the show. We're going to hear another song from them later. One of the things we know is there's been so much information here, and sometimes it can feel a bit overwhelming. So right now, Barbara Meyer and I are going to talk to people who are actually out in the field, people who are putting things into work to help combat the climate. We've got 8 climate action heroes that we're going to bring to you right now, and I'm thrilled to be standing next to Venetia Umashankar, and you are unbelievable. First of all, how old are you?
I'm 15 years old.
15 years old, and last year you had an unbelievable invention, the solar ironing cart.
Yes.
So tell me, where are you from and what inspired this creation?
Sure. I'm Venetia Umashankar. I'm 15 years old from South India. Tiruvannamalai, it's about 4 hours away from Chennai. And I've been living there for almost my whole life. So from where I come from, using charcoal to iron your clothes is almost a normalcy. And just to put this into perspective, almost all of you would have seen an electric iron box over here. But in India, what is more normal is using a cast iron box filled with burning hot charcoal inside. And this charcoal's heat is used to iron our clothes. But since this is viewed as a normalcy, no one ever questioned whether this process was sustainable or harmful to our environment or not. But just a few years ago, back in 2018 to 2019, when I was in 7th grade, I questioned this process. And right now, I have a prototype and patent of a solar-powered ironing cart, which is much more sustainable and prevents 50 million kilograms of charcoal from being burnt every day in the country.
Okay, absolutely. When I was in 7th grade, I was collecting baseball cards. Here you are making an invention. What is your background? Were you in science? How did you come up with the idea, but then the technology, we saw you writing on it. I believe it's called Iron Max, is that right?
Yes, that is right.
So did you have help? Where did you come up with the idea to put this together?
So I mentioned earlier that this is quite normal to see, and when I saw it, though I see it every day, I had sort of a brainwave, you could say, that something's wrong about this process. And when I realized that, I did some research online. I figured out what problems are caused by charcoal, and it just came to the conclusion that it causes air pollution, deforestation, and when you inhale the toxic fumes of charcoal, it can cause lung disease. All of these contribute to climate change. So after my research, I worked on it for about 6 to 7 months, and then I started my prototype and patenting process, which has brought me to this stage right now.
Just amazing. We have a show in America called Shark Tank. I think it was Dragon's Den in England, where innovators come and they pitch a room full of people, some of whom happen to be business people. So I think you may have some investors after this, but I want to ask you, Venetia, you said you're just 15. What do you envision for the future, for this project and moving forward? What's your vision?
So for this project, right now it has been prototyped and patented, and currently I'm working on bringing the product to the market, because as an innovator, I believe that the true potential of innovation can only be revealed if it reaches the people. And right now, with my schooling and education going on, I'm trying to balance both of them, which I also think is really crucial. But with innovation, I really hope I can do that. And another important point that I would like to note is that technology is constantly improving. The solar panels, the battery, even the iron box itself is much more advanced than it used to be in 2018 when I first came up with the idea. So with the project going forward, I'm just trying to improve the solar ironing cart, make it much more affordable for the ironing vendors, which is the demographic that I'm targeting. And hopefully I can bring it out to the market in my country and across the world wherever it's necessary.
And where can we follow you? Are you on social media? How can we get in touch and follow your incredible journey?
Sure, you can find me on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. I give updates almost every day on the project and almost everything else that's happening with relation to innovation.
I will say this 15-year-old is a lot more mature than I am. Venetia Umashankar, thank you so much for being up here.
Thank you.
Barbara?
That is so impressive. Amazing, really. Thank you very much for sharing your story. Our next climate action leader would have loved to be with us in person today, but we are very happy that he joins us virtually. It's Tony Piech. Nice to have you here. You have chosen a different approach on working on climate action. Can you tell us why you started your own foundation, the Tony Piech Foundation?
Yes, with pleasure. Give me a moment. Venetia is a really tough act to follow, to be honest. So I would say I'm an entrepreneur in my main life, and I want to say I'm starting a foundation because I can, and because we live in times where if you are given an unfair amount of opportunities and resources, which I have in my life, I think I have the responsibility to do something. And, you know, it boils down, I have kids, so I would like to contribute to leaving them a planet that's habitable and not mansions. So I think it's a sign of the times.
And what are your main goals with the foundation? Who can apply for funding?
So the foundation focuses on a few topics that we've identified as relevant, also in terms of what I and my team bring to the table: climate, renewables, future of cities, clean construction materials, and communication. So that's where our projects focus on, with emphasis on early stage, because I'm an early stage entrepreneur. So the other goal, I guess, is simply to make it as relevant and big as possible. So on the one side, I'm trying to create, as an entrepreneur, resources, financial experience, and then move them over to the foundation. At the moment, we're invitation only. So as we scale up, there will be an application process. So we have some ongoing projects, and some that we're looking at. But even though I'm not there in person, the wonderful man who runs the foundation, called Stefan Schurig, he's in the audience and physically there. So if you want to talk to somebody who really knows what he's talking about, then you should grab him.
That's amazing. You all heard we have someone from the foundation here. Are you here in the room? So perfect. If anyone wants to make a little connection afterwards, they know where to go. Thank you very much for joining us. All the best for your foundation and for your future projects. That's very impressive. Thank you very much. Matt, who's joining you?
Well, Barbara, I'm amazed. We've had investments, people willing to back investments, and right now we're joined by someone who's coming to us from Kenya, Lorna Ruto. Lorna, thank you so much for joining us. Now, we've talked so much about the issues with climate change, and I understand even in Kenya, pollution, deforestation are issues. So what have you been doing to help take a stand locally?
Great. Thank you very much for giving me this great opportunity to share with you. My name is Lorna Ruto. I'm a multi-passionate social entrepreneur with a vision to have a green Africa free from poverty. And I also have a mission to create sustainable jobs for people in marginalized areas and conserve the environment. As most countries, in developing countries, they face the triple challenge of managing the ever-growing streams of waste. In Kenya, every single day there's 2,400 metric tons of waste that is generated, only 10% of which is recycled. This waste is normally thrown everywhere, littering the streets and even clogging into our sewers. It's classified as one of the worst humanitarian crises in the city. The other challenge is forestation. There's so much deforestation in Africa, even, and other developing countries. We only have 6% forest cover. Our forests are in serious decline due to increase in urbanization and the need for building and construction materials. And the third challenge that we face is the poverty and unemployment like every year in Africa, over 10,000 youths enter the job market, 10 million youths enter the job market with limited employment prospects. So what do EcoPost do? What are we doing to tackle these challenges? We actually convert this post-consumer plastic waste using extrusion technology, and we manufacture very environmentally friendly plastic lumber and pellets. The plastic lumber has various applications, such as fencing, signage, outdoor furniture, building and construction materials, among others. And then the pellets, we sell them to other plastic manufacturers, and they are used to produce other plastic consumer products. This enables us to work with a lot of youth and women groups, especially those in the marginalized areas who collect, prepare, and all of us manufacture and produce this plastic lumber and pellets that are highly demanded. So far, EcoPost has been able to create over 100 direct jobs and over 12,000 indirect jobs. This is especially to the very poor in the marginalized areas who are in dire need for improving their livelihoods. And we've recycled over 13 million kilograms of plastic waste from the environment. When we recycle this plastic waste, we're able to make plastic lumber that is like alternative to timber. So we save our forests. And we have been able to save over 4,500 acres of forest by doing so. This has enabled us to reduce over 160 million carbon dioxide emissions from the environment, further mitigating climate change. Thank you.
Lora, that's just amazing. I love the way you spelled out the challenges and you had your solutions. I'm always interested, because I think a lot of people have ideas for solutions, but for you, what have been the biggest challenges to having your solutions adopted, and how have you overcome them?
Yeah, in Africa, sometimes there will be all these difficulty even in acquiring the kind of capital that is required to scale and expand and replicate this business model in other countries, the same socioeconomic setup. So having opportunities like this that gives us good platforms to network, to meet and also share ideas, meet potential investors. It's been very important for us. It has helped us to move, catapulted like EcoPost from several years ahead of where we would have been. So we really appreciate when we all join together and join hands to work together to create solutions that will put a dent on poverty and conserve our environment, which is very important for the planet.
Beautiful. So people who want to join together with you, is there a way they can find you or follow your progress?
Yes, please. Please reach me on LinkedIn. You can look for me on Facebook, Lora Ruto. Our company is called EcoPost. Please go to www.ecopost.co.ke, and we look forward to joining you. And 5 years from now, 20 million people will be having healthy environments because of all the work we will do together to conserve the environment. When you think future, think environment. Let's preserve the environment together. Thank you so much.
Beautifully said, Lora Ruto. Thank you for joining us. EcoPost, everyone check it out and follow us. Barbara.
Yes, I have one more amazing climate action leader standing with me, Christian Rönn. You have chosen a different path. Can you tell us a little bit more about you and also about your company, Normative?
All right, so I typically tell people that I do two of the things that bore people the most and scare people the most. So if you want to have the intense experience of cognitive dissonance, of being bored and scared at the same time, come and talk to me afterwards. But what that means more concretely, though, is that I work on the scary part is climate change and the boring part is accounting. And I truly believe that accounting can change the world. So what we do more specifically at Normative is that we help corporates all around the world calculate and account for their full carbon footprint in their own operations and in their value chain as well. 90% of the footprint is typically located in the value chain, and then we give them actionable insights on concrete actions that they can take in order to go towards net zero emissions. And we're helping businesses all across the world on their net zero journey.
And are you busy? So are a lot of companies taking it serious to reduce their CO2 emissions?
So here's the thing. I think a lot of companies, and most companies actually take it seriously. But we have a huge problem because we have the good intentions, but we combine that with bad mathematics. And I've talked a lot about what we call unintentional greenwashing. And that is really when you have those good intentions, but you combine it with bad maths. And what that I think that might mean in the future is that 10 years in the future, maybe every single company will claim to be carbon neutral or net zero, but we will still see global emissions go up. And the reason I suspect for that is that we're not taking the measurement problem seriously enough of accounting for your full carbon footprint, not only the 10% in your own operations, but also the 90% in your value chain. So I think the intentions are there, but we really need to start to take that measurement and accounting problem seriously, because if you can't measure it, you can't manage it.
So you're giving ideas to companies how to improve that. Can you follow up if they really do what you suggest to do, or you don't know if they just wanted to know a little bit and not doing the action afterwards?
So it's a bit of a mixed bag, right? So I mean, you have the type of businesses that do the carbon accounting just to have it in their stakeholder report. But most companies that we see increasingly have a net zero target, which means that they are actually listening to us. So regardless if it's switching to renewable electricity, switching to more renewable materials, involving their value chain, onboarding those companies, often SMEs, onto the platform, and for them to take the right actions, they're increasingly doing what we're suggesting to them. So we're very, very happy and very proud for all of our customers that are going through that net zero journey.
So, and every company can come to you to ask for your service, or are you specialized in one?
So we work with businesses of all sizes, and I think this is important. So we have a free plan that is entirely available for free for small businesses. So we are one of the co-founders of a United Nations Race to Zero initiative called the SME Climate Hub, where essentially every small business can sign up, take a net zero target, and use our software. But for the large enterprises, that's where we really specialize. And there's the collaboration between the large and the small enterprises, which is interesting, because the large enterprises are responsible for a huge footprint, but almost all of that, 90%, is in the value chain. And that is often from SMEs from the global south. So I think it's incredibly important that the large companies actually work and finance the climate transition of the smaller companies in the global south. But so yeah, we work with companies of all sizes, and I think that's the only way to reach net zero.
So let's hope your business is growing and a lot of companies are taking it serious. Thank you very much for that insight, and maybe hopefully for that inspiration for some companies to work with you. Matt, I see you have another climate action leader here.
Yes, and by the way, I'm impressed. I'm impressed with how many networking opportunities there are, and right now I'm joined by an impressive young woman, a climate activist from Uganda, Evelyn Acham, and you're not here alone. Out there, you have a stall with your group, so tell us about the movement that you've been helping grow in Uganda.
Thank you so much, Matt. Thank you so much for the invitation to come and share our story and our project. My name is Evelyn Acham. I'm a climate activist from Uganda, a country that has one of the fastest changing climate in the world. Devastating floods in western Uganda have destroyed homes, schools, displaced thousands of people. Prolonged droughts in northern Uganda, which has dried up food and water sources and is threatening food security and worsening the challenges that communities like mine are already experiencing, like discrimination. The climate crisis is not only affecting my country, but communities across Africa. The East African drought affected some East African regions, causing several food crises across countries like Somalia, Ethiopia, Kenya, and threatening livelihoods and millions of people's properties. Early this year, severe flooding and landslides affected southern and southern and eastern parts of South Africa, which killed hundreds of people and thousands are still missing. The climate disaster is not only affecting Africa, but many communities in the global south. The present is already catastrophic. This is clear that it's not some far-off problem, but happening already. We must take action, and it must happen now. Communities like mine cannot wait for 10 or 30 years for action to be done. We demand immediate action and not promises and pledges. But we, the youth, are not silent. We have continued to employ our resourcefulness not only for our development, but for the betterment of our communities, the people, and the planet as a whole, as we advocate for climate justice through our climate campaigns and projects and initiatives on the road to sustainable and livable world. I traveled with my friends from the Rise Up movement all the way from Uganda, and we have a store right out there displaying most of our projects that we are doing. I'm heading the Plus One Tree project, which is targeting to plant 9 million fruit trees in my country, because I discovered that fruit trees are the trees that are still standing, and it's very hard for people to cut fruit trees because they provide food for people. And we also have the Vash Green Schools project, which involves installation of eco-friendly cookstoves and solar panels in schools, and this is headed by Vanessa Nakate. We also have the Girl on the Move initiative, which involves empowering young women and girls who have been affected by the climate crisis, and this is headed by Isaac Sentumbwe. If you want to know more about these projects, we have a stall right opposite that door. You could just visit our table and we explain more information for you. Thank you.
Evelyn, thank you so much. I think this is something you talk about, the power of youth. Now, I know you've done quite a bit of traveling along with the group Rise Up, and we've talked about all the reasons to be frustrated, all the reasons to be pessimistic, all the reasons for fear. But one thing I would love to hear from you, now that you've been around, now that you've been at meetings like this, what are the things that give you hope for the future?
Some of the things that give me hope for the future is seeing so many voices of young people rising up to speak up for a clean and sustainable environment, to speak up for a right that is for everyone and not only for a few. So this keeps me optimistic, and it gives me hope to keep speaking up every day. And I believe that another world is not only necessary, but it's possible. And as the young people and the people from the global south, we continue to demand for climate action, and we are demanding for climate finance that was promised years ago by the rich countries to help the vulnerable communities recover from the climate crisis. And we are demanding for a loss and damage facility to help people recover from loss and damage. And we are sending out a demand again for an end to fossil fuels, to phase out fossil fuels and put an upscale in renewable energy. This is our call to action. And again, as the Rise Up movement, we are helping so many activists on the road to COP, to get them to COP27. And if there's anything you can do to support us, we really appreciate. Thank you.
There it is. Rise up and speak up. They'll be outside right there at the stall. Evelyn, thank you so much. Continued success. Barbara.
Yes, we have one more inspiring woman joining us virtually from Thailand. It's Harwan Damrang. It's nice to have you with us. Can you tell us, you founded your own sustainable packaging company. How did that happen?
Good evening. I am Jarwan. I started from Thai to help my village. My family is like the most of resident rice farmer. It's a beautiful place, but we face several challenges. The income generated during the harvest is not sufficient for the community for the whole years. At the same time, the farmer usually burns the residue of rice straw, which not only contribute to climate change by emitting CO2, but it also pollutes the air and cause respiration disease. My husband and I wanted to return our village from the city. We thought for a long time that how to solve these issues. We realized that paper and pulp industry had a big environmental issues due to deforestation, CO2 emissions, and waste management. We had the idea that rice straw could contribute to reducing the environmental impact of power and packaging industry. At the same time, give income of residents of the village through employment. This when we got in contact with one alumni of the UNIDO Clean Tech Innovations Program in Thailand who worked the same area. She suggested us to join this program. It's very a good chance to gain the knowledge in clean tech as well as entrepreneurship. We join this program and can create the network as well as we know new people who can collaborate. Importantly, we have the idea to scale up our business, our innovations for greater impact to our community and beyond.
That's really impressive. What are your goals for the future?
For the future, I would like to see crop residues converted to paper pulp, as well as I think this way will provide the farming income, as well as to solve the environmental issues. I would like to scale up the business. I am looking for a financial partner to scale up business, and we also collaborate with another two alumni from UNIDO program. We would like to produce sanitary this composable sanitary pad for the commercial scale. We already have the demand in the market. We combine the rice straw with activated charcoal. Scale up the business is our next step, and we're looking for the financial partner. We think that our product will be net zero waste products that can solve the environmental issues, can improve the quality of life and economic situations of the farmers. Thank you.
It's really amazing. All the best for you to achieve all your goals. Thank you very much for being with us today. Matt, you have one more climate action leader standing with you.
I do. And I think one of the cool things is seeing people who are dealing with problems that have existed for a long time, but creating innovative solutions. And our next guest has done that. And she already let me off the hook when I asked her how to pronounce her name. She goes, it's very hard, so you're probably not going to get it right. Birgit van Dijvenbode. Thank you for being here. You have a company called Reduce that deals with the problem of noise reduction, but it takes very innovative solutions. So explain what your company does.
So first of all, thank you very much for inviting me. It's a great honor and a pleasure to speak here today. I'm Birgit van Dijvenbode. I'm the founder of Reduce Noise Protection Technologies. We're a young Austrian startup seeking to reduce noise, but also other environmental problems at the same time. So why noise? Did you actually know that noise is a severe type of pollution that we're facing nowadays? Actually, every fifth European is affected by constantly high noise levels, which cause stress, but also many illnesses, such as cardiovascular disease or even premature deaths. So yes, noise is causing premature deaths because our body, the human body, cannot adjust to noise. But what if I told you that not only noise was the problem, but also the way we mitigate noise nowadays? We build walls. We build walls that are called noise barriers. And we build them in so many ways, next to streets, next to railways, next to airports, next to industry production sites, next to supermarkets, basically everywhere. Alone in Austria, every year we build around a surface of 50 soccer fields. Soccer, I didn't say football. Soccer fields of noise barriers every year. On the one hand, these noise barriers are important to protect us from noise and illness, but on the other hand, they create many other environmental issues, such as climate change and a mountain of hazardous waste at the end of the lifetime. With Reduce, we want to change that. We have developed the first ecological noise barrier technology based on a material reed. In German, this is Schilf. We actually know that this technology works as we built our technology on the findings of a pilot wall, which is standing strong next to a highway for already 15 years now.
Now, I understand the reeds, they're not just effective and environmentally conscious. I understand they also serve as homes for some of our smaller denizens on this planet. Tell us what goes on inside those reed walls.
Yeah, so actually our noise barrier does not only protect us from noise, but has many other environmental benefits. So, as already mentioned, it's made from natural materials, mainly from reed, which is from our region. In our case, we take it from Lake Neusiedl, which is south of Vienna. It also serves as a CO2 sink, so instead of emitting carbon, our noise barrier can actually store CO2 in every square meter of a wall and help us mitigate climate change. Furthermore, it is built according to the circular economy, so it does not produce any hazardous waste at the end of its lifetime, unlike other products. And two more positive benefits. First of all, it can increase air quality because the clay in our wall actually absorbs particulate matter. And, as you already mentioned, it can serve as an insect hotel and help us increase biodiversity. So insects can actually go inside and breed and sleep and whatever inside our noise barrier walls.
So I can get them outside of my house and into the reed walls. Birgit, what's next for Reduce?
So, before I come to our next steps, I would also mention maybe another interesting aspect about our project is that we use the material reed, as already said, Schilf, which is a quite invasive and also fast-growing plant, and currently also an environmental issue in the region of Lake Neusiedl due to a lack of harvesting. So there, as we create demand for reed, we can also have a positive impact to the national park and its ecosystem there. Yeah. So, and now coming to our next steps, in order to be allowed to sell our product, we have to conduct many norm measurements. And that's what we will be doing until the end of the year. And this will give us the permission to actually sell our noise barrier. And from 2023 on, our product will be available to the market.
Well, we look forward. It sounds like it doesn't just reduce noise, it can solve about 6 other issues as well. Birgit van Dijvenbrood, continued success with Reduce.
Thank you very much.
Barbara, bring it home.
So, and I have one amazing climate action leader standing with me. It's Andreas Diesenreiter from Unverschwendet. We talked about earlier about food waste. Maybe you can tell us what do you do about that and tell us the story of Unverschwendet.
Today is not only a good day for the climate, today is also World Cucumber Day. And I'm telling you that because I wanted to bring 2 things today. One is the product we make out of it, and one is one really crooked cucumber I found today in our office. The cucumber is already in a relish, so I just brought the glass. The thing is, food waste is a really, really big problem. We just heard a few numbers back in the last session, I think. And the numbers are even higher than you can imagine. I think the newest study from the WWF says that like 40% of all the food we produce goes to waste. And our company Unverschwendet, which translates to unwasted, rescues those surplus fruits and vegetables. So those are that are too big, too small, too ugly, whatever reason. And in many cases, just like too much. It because we live in a world where it's cheaper to overproduce and throw away than to disrupt the supply chain on the way. So our goal is to find solutions to rescue all the fruits and vegetables and put them back economically into the circular economy that we have. And we do that right now with products like jams, chutneys, syrup, and other things. But our main goal is to do this in a scale where we can even support the industry with surplus fruits and vegetables and collaborate with gastronomy and do it in a really big scale. Because, as I mentioned, the problem is really, really big. And a lot of the talk is about the food waste in supermarkets, and we also heard back then the food waste in households. But food waste is on the whole chain. So it starts at the farm, continues then in the packing stations, in the warehouse facilities, along the logistics. So in every step from the farm till the end consumers at home, food waste occurs, and we try to tackle every part of that.
That sounds fantastic, and also I think very delicious. I want to try that later, please. Can you tell us what you plan as your next activities for the future?
Grow, grow, grow. Because, as just mentioned, there's really a lot of food waste. There are estimates that alone in Austria, there's like 250 million kilograms of fruits and vegetables wasted every year. And in the 6 years of our company, Unverschwendet, we already got offered like 13 million kilograms. And so far, we could only rescue a few 100,000 kilos. So we really have to step up our game and get even bigger. And one of the biggest problems, I just want to mention that, is many people don't understand why products out of rescued fruits and vegetables are more expensive than the other products at the supermarket. And one of the main reasons is it's very time-consuming to organize the surplus, to produce it in smaller ways. So we have to grow to even make our products cheaper so that we have a sustainable solution for even more people.
So I would say we all help you grow with buying your products, and then we're going to get cheaper.
That would be amazing.
All the best for your future. Thank you very much for sharing your story. Maybe our audience wants to try your products. That would be very great. So thank you to all of our climate actions leaders we had here today.